A young man named Willy Wonka finally gets a shop so that the police will stop disturbing him for selling his chocolates on the streets. On the grand opening of his shop, he invites a lot of customers to come over to get his chocolates. However, when they taste it, they start developing weird facial hair that makes Willy realize that someone tried to sabotage his chocolates. A few weeks earlier, Willy arrives in a big city with the dreams of opening a shop to sell his signature chocolates. After moving around for a while, he spends most of his money on side attractions until he eventually has nothing left. Since he can't afford a hotel, Willy finds a bench where he can spend the night. While he's then preparing a cup of coffee before sleeping, a man named Bleacher approaches him. He asks if Willy plans to sleep on the bench, and as he confirms this, Bleacher advises him against it because it's very cold outside. Willy then explains that he has no money, but Bleacher says he knows someone who can help. Following this, he takes Willy to the shop of a woman named Mrs. Screwbit, who looks happy to receive a customer. As Willy explains his situation to Screwbit, she tells a girl named Noodle to help get the man something to drink. Since he also needs a place to sleep, Screwbit says she has the perfect place for him, though it will cost him some money. Willy then tells her that he'd soon have enough money to pay her. She asks how he plans to do it, and he says he's a magician who will be selling something extraordinary to the people in the city. Shortly after, Screwbit brings out a document for Willy to sign as an agreement, but just as he's about to sign it, Willy sees Noodle behind a window telling him to read the small prints. Screwbit immediately sends her away, but Willy asks what Noodle meant. The shop owner then tells him not to take Noodle seriously because she has orphan syndrome. Willy asks what she means, and Screwbit says she has been taking care of Noodle since someone dropped her just by the laundry tube. As Willy then tries to check the small prints, he sees that the document has multiple layers hidden under the place he's supposed to sign. Screwbit tells him it means nothing, but as Willy tries to read it, she signals to Bleacher to knock him out with a stick. Before he can do it though, Willy says he has no problem with the document. This leaves Screwbit shocked, and as Willy signs it, she looks happy. After she takes him to his room, Screwbit punishes Noodle for trying to expose her. The next day, Willy goes to the city center and advertises his chocolates using some magic tricks. This gets the attention of three men, Slugworth, Prodnose, and Ficklegruber, who are the main chocolatiers in the city. Before Willy starts selling anything, Slugworth calls the police to come to the scene. He and his other two counterparts then come out to confront Willy for trying to sell chocolates in their area. Willy recognizes them and looks happy because he has heard about how big they are. He then offers his chocolates to the men so they can try it. They seem to enjoy it, but when they give their feedback, they tell Willy that it's the worst chocolate they've ever tasted. Willy is shocked by this, but before they talk much, they start floating in the air. Willy then laughs and says that he added something special to the chocolates. Following this, Willy starts selling his chocolates, and Noodle also sees him. Unfortunately, the chief of police eventually arrives and dismisses everyone because it's illegal to sell chocolates on the streets. An officer named Affable is told to take all Willy's earnings. Willy looks disappointed by this, but he also tells Affable he needs money to pay for his hotel room. Affable then gives him the amount he needs, and Willy returns to the hotel. As he gets there, he pays Screwbit, but she says he still owes her a lot more. She then mentions that she'll be charging him for using the stairs, warming himself with the fire, and also using the bar of soap in the bathroom. Because it's a lot of money that he can't afford, she says he'll have to pay it by working in her wash house. Before Willy can say anything, Bleacher pushes him down a tube leading to the wash house. When he gets there, he sees a man named Abacus, who says he runs the place. Willy also meets the other workers, Piper, Lottie, and Larry. As they all tell their story, Willy learns that they got sent down to the wash house after Screwbit got them to sign a document. Willy says they need to try to leave, but they tell him that there's no way out because there's a fierce dog watching the door. Before he says anything else, Abacus and the others show him how they work every day. Later that night, Willy finds the room he'll be staying in. As he looks around, Noodle comes in to serve him dinner. She then asks how much he owes, but as he says it, she tells him it's nothing compared to what she owes. Willy looks surprised by this, but Noodle says that Screwbit and Bleacher have been charging her since they picked her up. She also mentions that she tried to warn Willy, but he says he can't read because he has spent his whole life studying chocolates instead. He then asks if she likes chocolates, but she says she has never tasted it. Surprised by this, he offers to make one for her. While he's at it, she asks if he always wanted to make chocolates, and he tells her that it's something his mom taught him to love because she made the best chocolates. He also mentions that his dream to have a chocolate shop was supported by his mom, who told him she'd be there when he starts sharing his chocolates with the world. Willie also says she promised to share a secret about chocolates with him, but that she died before she could and left him with a bar of chocolate he still hasn't eaten. Before he then focuses on the chocolates he's making for Noodle, he says he secretly hopes that when he gets a shop, he'll see his mom again. Shortly after, he gives Noodle a bar of chocolate, and as she loves it, he promises to give her a lifetime of supply as long as she helps him escape. Noodle doesn't think it's possible, but Willie says there must be a way to distract Scroobit so he can sneak out and make some money to pay up his debt. Noodle then mentions that the only day she saw Scroobit easily distracted was when an aristocrat came to the shop. With this, Willie comes up with an idea and says he'll find an aristocrat for Scroobit. Elsewhere, the chief of police goes to an old church where a corrupt priest named Julius lets him go through a secret elevator to meet Slugworth, Finkelberg, and Prodnose in an underground bunker. When he gets there, Slugworth thanks him for chasing Willie away from the city square. However, he says he now wants the chief to ensure Willie never thinks of selling chocolates again. The chief doesn't sound interested in the plan, but Slugworth offers to increase his supply of chocolates, so he agrees. The next day, Willie convinces Bleacher to start dressing like an aristocrat, and as Scroobit sees him, she falls in love. While they're then distracted, Noodle helps Willie sneak out of the building. As they then talk about how they'll sell the chocolates, Willie realizes that his only jar is empty. He claims that the chocolates must have been stolen by a little orange man, but Noodle doesn't believe him. Since he also has no milk to make more chocolates, Willie says he needs giraffe milk, so Noodle suggests going to the zoo. When they get there, Noodle helps Willie give the security man his last chocolate to make him sleep off. Following this, they then head inside the zoo to find a giraffe named Abigail. While Willie is milking the giraffe, he asks Noodle how her name came about. She then mentions that she has no idea. However, she shows him a ring with the letter N on it. She says it's the only thing she has of her parents, and that it's likely what was used to name her. As she looks pretty sad while saying she has always dreamt of reuniting with her parents, Willie says he'll ensure she doesn't rot in the wash house. Shortly after, Willie gets all the milk he needs, so they leave. On their way home, the chief of police stops Willie, so he asks Noodle to leave. The police chief then beats and threatens to continue to hurt Willie if he doesn't stop his chocolate business. When Willie and Noodle get home, Abacus and the others ask where they went. Noodle then mentions that Willie is the best chocolate maker in the world. As Willie mentions that he has been trying to sell his chocolates, Abacus says he's sure the chief of police has assaulted him. Willie asks how he knows, and Abacus says he once worked for Slugworth as his accountant. He adds that Slugworth, Prodnose, and Fickelgruber have formed a chocolate cartel that prevents other rivals from selling chocolates. Abacus also says they store their excess chocolate in a bunker under the city's church. During one of his visits to the bunker, Abacus discovered a ledger showing the real truth behind their dealings and how they bribed the police chief with chocolates. After he found it, though, Slugworth fired him. Abacus then tells Willie that he's working at a disadvantage because as long as he doesn't have a shop, the police chief will continue to stop his business. Later that night, Willie sends Noodle a supply of chocolates through the window. In return, she says she'll teach him how to read. After a while, she suggests continuing the business by pulling a few tricks because they have to vanish anytime the police show up. While they're talking, Piper then opens her window and says she can help because she knows all the storm drains in the city. Larry and Lottie also offer to help, but Abacus thinks it's too dangerous because if Scroobit finds out, they'll be in trouble. However, as Noodle gives him a chocolate to taste, he changes his mind and offers to help. Following this, Willie starts selling his chocolates around the city with his friends. Whenever the police also show up, Willie escapes through the storm drains. This bothers the chocolate cartel since it's affecting their business, so they tell the chief of police to do everything he can to find out how Willie is operating. Days later, while Willie is sleeping, a little orange man enters his room to steal his chocolates. He eventually gets caught in a trap, and Willie looks happy to have finally caught the chocolate thief. As he then asks who the little man is, he says he's an Oompa Loompa. He also adds that he has been stealing the chocolates to get back at Willie for stealing cocoa from Loompaland under his watch. He says it got him kicked out of Loompaland, and that he'll keep taking Willie's chocolates until he has taken an equivalent of the cocos Willie stole. Even though Willie says he understands what the orange man is doing, he mentions that he can't keep letting his chocolates get stolen. After a while, the orange man tells Willie to release him so they can talk. However, when he gets out, he attacks Willie and escapes with the chocolate jar. That night, After Willie and his friends escape from the wash house, he tells them that he doesn't have any chocolates left. Noodle then tells him not to worry because they just want to show him the shop they got for him. Willie looks happy about this, but as he and his friends are leaving, the chief of police informs the chocolate cartel about his new shop. As he then mentions that he won't be able to do much if Willie gets a shop, Slugworth says he knows what to do. Later that night, he meets Scroobit to help him do something about Willie and his friends. The next day, Willie opens his shop, and everything seems fine until some customers start developing colored hair all over their faces. Willie then tastes the chocolates and realizes that someone added a bad ingredient. As the customers get angry, they destroy the whole place. After they leave, Noodle tells Willie not to give up, but he says he doesn't care anymore because his mom failed to show up like he expected. Abacus then tells Noodle and the others to leave Willie so that he'll have some time to himself. While Willie is alone, the chocolate cartel comes in and claims responsibility for what happened to his chocolates. To get Willie permanently off the market, Slugworth offers to pay his debt with Scroobit. Slugworth also says he'll pay for Willie's friends if he leaves the city. Since he has given up already, Willie accepts the offer. Shortly after, the chocolate cartel follows him to the port to watch him leave on a ship. Before he walks away, Slugworth shakes his hand and praises him for taking the offer. After Willie then boards the ship, he sees that the little orange man also followed him. This surprises Willie, but the Oompa Loompa mentions that he won't leave until he gets everything he's owed. Just then, Willie notices that Slugworth's ring left a mark of the letter A on his hand. As he tells the Oompa Loompa about it, he says it's because Slugworth's first name is Arthur. Since the ring is also similar to the one Noodle has, Willie realizes that she could be in danger because it seems she and Slugworth belong to the same family. However, as he goes to tell the captain to turn the ship around, he sees many explosives and realizes that the chocolate cartel wants to kill him. Just as he's about to run away, the ship blows up and Slugworth looks happy. The next day, Scroobit tells her workers about Willie's sacrifice. She then says that she has been paid to let them leave. While Abacus and the others leave, Scroobit says that Slugworth paid her to keep Noodle forever. Noodle doesn't get this, and she looks disappointed. While she's then locked up, Willie shows up to save her. As he's trying to cut the window open, he also gets help from Abacus and their other friends. Just then, Willie tells Noodle that she'll never be free until Slugworth is in jail. As she looks confused about how they'll get him arrested, Willie says they'll use the ledger Abacus talked about to expose Slugworth's evil dealings. After Noodle gets released, Willie comes up with a plan to get into the underground bunker. The plan starts after Noodle sneakily puts some of Abigail's favorite mints into Julius's pockets. Willie then sneaks into the zoo to take the giraffe to the front of the church. After Abigail enters the church and chases Julius to get the mints, the priest reaches out to a call center to help contact animal control. Lottie intercepts the call and gets Larry to pretend he's an animal control expert. As Larry and the others then pose as animal control workers, Willie and Noodle take advantage of this to enter the church and go down the secret elevator. Shortly after, Slugworth hears the news that something has happened at the cathedral. He calls Julius immediately and asks what happened. When he then hears that the church had to be cleared out for 20 minutes, Slugworth realizes that something fishy is going on. After checking the whole bunker, Noodle eventually finds the ledger containing the truth about the chocolate cartel's dealings. Before they can leave, though, the chocolate cartel arrives to stop them. Willie then says that he knows why Slugworth hates Noodle. While she looks confused, Slugworth then mentions that the letter on her ring is actually a Z, which stands for his brother's name, Zebedee. He then narrates how his brother died just before he got married to a poor woman. Since this made him the sole heir of the family fortune, he was happy until Noodle's mom returned to tell him about her newborn baby. He then took Noodle and lied that he'd take care of her. However, he left her at the end of the laundry tube so Scroobit could pick her up. Noodle is disappointed to hear this, but she asks for her mom's name. Slugworth says he doesn't remember, but Willie sees it in the ledger as Dorothy. Before they can do anything, Slugworth gets them to drop the ledger, after which he leads them into a storage area where they'll drown in chocolate. As Slugworth and his men are about to leave, Willie tells them to help him give a jar of the best chocolate he has ever made to a little orange man who will come for it. After leaving with the jar, Slugworth, Prodnose, and Fickleberg start eating it. They enjoy the chocolates and also give one to Julius before heading out. Meanwhile, Willie and Noodle swim to the top of the building to call for help through the glass window, but no one except the chocolate cartel is there. Just as they resign to their fate, the Oompa Loompa shows up and knocks Julius out for eating one of the chocolates meant for him. He then goes to the underground bunker and flips a switch to drain the chocolate in the storage area so that Willie and Noodle can survive. They thank him for this, and just as the chocolate cartel informs the chief of police not to worry about what happened at the church because they've handled it, Willie and Noodle come out with the ledger. Noodle hands it over to Affable to show proof of the chocolate cartel's dealings, which include illegal payments made to the chief of police. Just then, the chief asks Affable for the ledger, but the officer says he can't give him because his name is also in the book. Following this, Affable says they'll all be arrested. As they try to run away, the chocolate cartel suddenly starts flying, and Willie confirms that he added something special to the chocolates they ate. Slugworth then mentions that he'll use his chocolate reserve to make more money to bribe the jury and escape prison. However, Willie signals to Noodle to release the chocolate into the fountain. As this happens, the chocolate cartel realizes that there's nothing else they can do. Willie also sprinkles something into the chocolate fountain, after which he tells everyone they can enjoy it. Shortly after, Willie sits alone and opens the chocolate pack his mom gave him. He then sees that it's also where she hid the secret she wanted to tell him. While he reads it, he learns that his mom wanted him to know that what matters the most when it comes to chocolate is who it is shared with. As he also looks ahead, he sees his mom in the crowd, looking happy as she blows him a kiss. Following this, Willie shares his mom's last chocolate bar with his friends. Shortly after, Noodle also looks happy to hear that they've found her mom. As Willie takes her to where her mom works, Noodle reunites with her and looks excited. Meanwhile, the Oompa Loompa shows up, and Willie gives him the last installment of his debt. Before leaving, Willie offers him a role to become the head of the tasting department at his new shop. The little man agrees, and after a while, he joins Willie to start making chocolates again.